Okay, what's up, everybody? We're going to be taking a look at a comprehension today, and it is from the most recent past paper, November 2023. So it's all about South African food, South African snacks, amasi, frikadelles, marva pudding, walkie-talkies, and we're going to have a look at everything. So let's just summarize the begrips for you guys quickly. Feel free to also pause the video now if you want to read through it on your own. I'm just going to run through it. So paragraph 1 is about how South Africa has such good food, lekker eet, and how we have indigenous foods in our country because we've got this ethnic diversity largely due to colonialism, indentured labor, anything along those lines. So we've got a nice mixed masala of foods, if I could put it like that. And yeah, foods that are indigenous to the country and also a few foreign foods. So Lekislap is an organization, a tourist organization that gives people ideas of where they should eat, sleep, and other tourist things to do. Paragraph 3 is about the Western Cape and about Cape Malay culture and the infamous Gatsby. Also, just discussion about Cape Malay sweets like Cook Sisters and the curries as well. Now, you can't really speak about KZN without mentioning the Bunny Chow. And it's just history about how indentured Indians were forced into a very difficult life on the sugarcane plantations, and they needed to find a way to bring food to work. So they hollowed out a loaf of bread, and this was the most practical solution. Paragraph 5 is just about how we don't need any excuse to braai as South Africans, and also Shisanyama and how it originated in Gauteng townships. Paragraph 6 is about mogudu and how you can find it in the Northwest and in the Eastern Cape, Weskaap. You can find sausage and porridge and wash it down with a traditional corn beer. Paragraph 7 is about this influencer Tani Poppy and how she was invited to this Italian bicycle race, and she made them roosterkoek of aaskoek, and this is from the Northern Cape. They're absolutely master bakers here. Paragraph 8, Potjiekos in die Vrystaat, how important it was. Anton Goosen made a song about it, and how important it was in the Die Groot Trek. Mpumalanga and sorghum. Paragraph 10, Limpopo and Mopani worms, and just how high in protein it is, 3 times more than beef. Paragraph 11, this is about milk tart and its origins and how it came with the Dutch in the 1600s. So milk tart. Paragraph 12, and some of our biggest favorites you can even find abroad, like biltong. You can find it in the Netherlands and New Zealand. Paragraph 13, you are what you eat, they say, and the best way to get to know people is through food. And in South Africa, eating well often means having a good time. I really like the last paragraph. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the questions. Okay, let's get into the questions. So, name one example of South African delicacies. The answer here, amasi, malva pudding, anything along those lines would have scored you the marks. Question 1.2, which organization recently conducted an investigation to find out which foods unique to South Africa? Now, with questions like this, I know vocab is a massive issue, woordeskat, so I'm trying my best to give you guys translations for it. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a direct translation. As you know, that's not how Afrikaans works. It doesn't always make sense, so I'm just going to try my best to give you the best English translation. So, which organization recently conducted an investigation to find out which foods are unique to South Africa? And as we saw, it was lekker slaap. 1.3, write down one word from paragraph 1 that means the same as eie, own, to South Africa. The answer, as discussed, was inheems, like indigenous to South Africa. So inheems. 1.4, the Gatsby is 'n gereg wat uit Engeland kom. With a question like that, it's a statement. The Gatsby is a dish that comes from England, and motivate why the statement is false. So, as we read in Weskaap, the Gatsby is from the Cape. And, if you had time to read the article on your own, not only is it from the Cape, but to go it even further, it's from the Cape Flats, die Kaapse Vlakte. Or it comes from Weskaap, it comes from South Africa, anything along those lines would have scored you the mark. 1.5, what can you use instead of Russian sausage if you want to make a Gatsby? Now, if you read all those ingredients that are forming part of the Gatsby, you can use polony. You could have maybe used masala steak. 1.6, why is a Gatsby good value for money? So, it makes you feel full. If you read the article, they use words like fullend. Or did mark your full? Or it's cheap, dis goedkoop. 1.7, where did the Natal workers who started the bunny chow years ago work? So 1.7, they worked on the sugarcane plantation, so you can just lift that from the article. It is only a one marker. So the Sei Keri Plantasis, 1.9. Shisanyama took this barbecue braai thing a bit further. Choose the correct word in brackets, the Sanakis. So in 1.9, it's either they wanted to sell more meat or they wanted to attract more people to Gauteng. And the answer here is that they just wanted to sell more meat to generate, more profit. 1.10, in what respect are the two dishes from the Northwest and the Eastern Cape the same? So this is coming from our paragraph 6. And if you look very carefully, they both make use of pap. So they both make use of pap. What is a roaster cake, also called in the Northern Cape? Roaster cake, roosterkoek. As we stated a bit earlier, it's called an aaskoek, like an ash cake. 1.12, which singer made a song about potty food? Like we said earlier, Anton Goosen. 1.13, from what do we or can we conclude that potjie food has been part of our culture for centuries? So that discussion of the groot trek that happened hundreds of years ago. So anything along those lines, it was eaten during the groot trek. Okay, that was a trek of the Dutch Afrikaans population to better ground. 1.14, name one thing the people in Mpumalanga use sorghum for. So pap or beer were possible answers here. 1.15.1, voordelig or nadelig. So everyone may not like Mopani worms, but in Limpopo they're a delicacy. Choose the correct answer from those in brackets. So nadelig means harmful, voordelig means beneficial. So the answer is most definitely going to be voordelig. Why would people eat them if they're harmful? And last question, 1.15.2, motivate your answer in 15.1. So it's economical, it's cheap, it's not expensive. So economies or goedkoop. Pretty easy comprehension, I would say, relatively basic, easy to understand. Just know who's who in the zoo, what's happening in each paragraph, and answer the questions. And they tend to give you hints like, that's paragraph 2, that's paragraph 4, that's paragraph 5. Also, they've tended to change the comprehension style. If you guys look at the papers from like 2015 to 2019 or so, it's more biographical comprehensions on Hugh Masekela, Trevor Noah, people who have changed the game as South Africans. And it's about their life story, when they grew up, how they died, what they did, their net worth, things like that. But now it's not really focused on people, but more so on articles. So that seems to be the trend, but also prepare for absolutely anything. The Department of Basic Education, the DBE, they're quite unpredictable. But yeah, I think this was a pretty easy comprehension. It was relatively straightforward. But if you don't understand the questions or you don't understand the comprehension and some of the key words, yeah. But if your vocab was good, I think it was a bit on the softer side, in my humble opinion. But you look, as a teacher, tutor, educator, whatever, yeah, we tend to say things like that a lot. When something is easy, we say it's easy. When something is difficult, yeah, we still say it's it's easy. But yeah, this was it. This was the comprehension. You can do it. Believe in yourself. And yeah, it's one last comprehension for you. Well, I mean, depending which year you're looking at this. Okay, let's keep it moving. Cheers. Okay, let's have a look at our opsomming, our summary. So, strange facts about cell phones. So, let's go through it. So in paragraph 1, it's just about how today billions of people use cell phones to communicate. And here's a few strange facts about cell phones. Paragraph 2, it's all about how we see taxis around every corner in South Africa. And there are even more mobile phones than there are taxis, televisions, and radios combined. and people become happy when they can't use their phones. In paragraph 3, it's about how people put their cell phones everywhere without thinking, and our cell phones actually contain 19 times more bacteria than toilet handles. Paragraph 4 is about how owning a cell phone in South Africa, or pretty much anywhere in the world, is expensive. And the highest bill is from this woman here, Selena Aarons, that had a bill for $201,000. That's like over, it's like maybe 3.6 million rands. Okay, and can you believe that people are actually throwing cell phones as sport in Inderdaad, indeed, in Finland? So, in Finland, inderdaad means indeed, just to reaffirm the point. You wouldn't plug something like that into the summary. And one of the big problems is that people struggle to charge their cell phones, and there's been some scientists at Bristol Robotics Lab that have found out that you can actually use urine to charge your phone. And paragraph 7, just when you think you've heard it all, there are always new strange facts about cell phones. Okay, so let's summarize it. We need to number it from 1 to 7, and it can't be longer than 70 words. So less than 70. Okay, so the first one, first fact, there's more cell phones in South Africa than the taxis, televisions, and radios combined. So that would be the first one. Daar's meer selfone in Suid-Afrika as taxis, televisiestelle, and radios. Anything along those lines would have scored you the mark. Number 2, we use our phones more than 100 times a day, or around about 100 times a day. So, mense of die meeste mense gebruik 110 keer per dag hulle selfone, so anything like that. So we use our phone 100 times a day. 3, our cell phones have 19 times more bacteria than toilet handles. So something like selfone het 19 keer meer bakterie as wat jy op die toilet hand vat selfs kry. Something like that would have scored you the marks. Number 4, let's get to Celia Aarons. And in 2011, she had a $201,000 bill. I love drawing that S. When I was in school, I used to draw it so much, hey? And also, this S over here? You guys know it. It's a very South African thing. Number 5, we didn't mention, but it's just about how there were 6,576 diamonds on a cell phone. It was diamond encrusted cell phone, and we found it in Hong Kong. So anything like that. Diamante is diamonds. So die meeste diamante op 'n cell phone is 6576 diamante. You didn't have to mention Hong Kong. That was just additional information. And then we could have spoken about what happened in Finland, cell phone throwing. So maybe cell phone gooi. We could start the sentence off with that. Is 'n aantreklike sportsoort in Finland. Or it's a sport in Finland. Let me just underline the other answers in blue. And our last answer is going to be that urine fact. So there were only 7 points here that were applicable. If you listed anything else, if you tried the comprehension on your own before we looked at the video, if you listed anything else other than what we've gotten here, you would not have scored the marks. So this is the one about urine. Can be used to charge your cell phone. So something like this maybe. Urine kan gebruik word om selfone of batterye te laai to charge your cell phone. Yeah, anything along those lines, and make sure you put it in your own words. If you lift, so if you just take anything from the extract without paraphrasing it, you will not score a mark. Okay, and you can write this heading if you like. 7 vreemde feite oor selfone. Okay, and do you see how it says here, a full sinner in your own full sentences, and your word count must be less than 70. Look, I'll be honest with you, they don't actually count the words. It's more of an estimate. I mean, you can imagine, it's South Africa, it's Mzansi in summer. It's so hot in those examination centers. They're just trying to mark as quickly as possible, but hopefully it's effective. So trust me, they don't actually count the words. But if it's looking too much, maybe it's 11, 12 lines, if you're writing at a pretty medium spacing between your words and size, it could be flagged. So just try your best to keep it in and around 70. If it's 72, 73 words, it's okay. And then, I would probably just write down my word count as 68 or 69. It's like I'm giving you guys criminal advice here. Sorry, I'm not liable. I'm gonna actually delete this video as soon as I post it. No, but I'm I'm being serious. Like if it's just over the word count, you just plug in 69 or 70. It's fine. As long as it's not like drastically over the word count, like you're sitting on 120, 130, it should be fine. So let's have a good look at our advertentie, our little advert. So we've got your unique South African shirt. It's made by South Africans for South Africans. You've got a fingerprint here. Beskikbaar, it means available in red. Green, we'll probably have to do some kind of tall question there. And yellow. Ladies, don't throw money down the drain. Buy a quality t-shirt. Get 20% off the best t-shirt in South Africa. Buy it now. And then bits and pieces about the information. So question 3.1, give the correct form of the word in brackets. So Suid-Afrika, it's in noun form. It needs to go into adjectival form by voeglige naamwoord. So they might not tell you what you need to do. It just says give the correct form, give it an adjectival form. So it's going to be Suid-Afrikaanse. Question 2, give the intensive form of the word in brackets. Groen, gras, groen. Gras, groen. This would be bloedrooi. Geel, I've seen songeel before, or goudgeel. So blood red, grass green, sun yellow, or a gold yellow. 3.3, choose the correct word. So ladies are stereotyped in the ad as people who might not use their money wisely. They spend money on unnecessary things. They waste time looking for bargains. They might not track the prices of products. What do you guys think? The answer is A. Geld nie slim gebruik nie, so maybe they don't use their money all that wisely. 3.4, get 20% off the best t-shirt in South Africa. Why isn't the underlying word a fact? So it's not a fact, and why is that? So there was no research or statistics that claim it like this. It's simply an opinion. This opinie. Opinie, such a cute word. 3.5, why is the use of the fingerprint effective when looking at the name of the product? So why is the fingerprint here effective? And the fingerprint here is very effective because the t-shirts are so unique. It's almost as though it has a fingerprint because, well, fingerprints in themselves are unique. No two people have the same one. And that just further emphasizes how unique the t-shirt is. That's 3.6. Silly me, I've left 3.5 out. Why is the underlined word no here so important? So no, why is it effective when looking at the product? What do you guys think? Well, now it creates a sense of urgency, but the question is asking us, like, how could we have made it more effective? So what if we put an exclamation mark here, an uitroepteken, or wrote it in capital letters, hoofletters? Anything along those lines would have scored you guys the mark. Or maybe in italics, skeins, anything like that would have been fine. 3.7, why do you think the product is advertised in the form of a t-shirt? Like, why is the ad a t-shirt? Like, you see, like all of this, the outline, that is the ad. Why is it in the form of a t-shirt? Well, the advert is a t-shirt, and it's almost as though all the writing inside represents the text, so they're literally advertising a t-shirt while utilizing a t-shirt. It's like a t-shirt in a t-shirt. It's like a meta t-shirt. It's like, you know, that play in Hamlet, the mousetrap, play within a play. I'm giving you guys some baby trauma here. 3.8, what one word does the advertiser use to tell the reader that one will wear the t-shirt for a long time? The answer to this is the quality of the t-shirt, Qualiteit. 3.9, the prices are only available on www.unique.coza. Which group of people do you think is excluded by this? So it's people that maybe don't have access to technology, or they don't have access to like a laptop, computer, they don't have access to so anything along those lines would have scored you the mark. And 3.9.2, last question. Why do you think this exclusion will harm the advertiser's business? Well, they're losing out on profit and less people are going to react. So minder mense sal reageer of koop. So less people are going to react, less people are going to buy. So anything along those lines would have scored you the mark. So remember, when dealing with advertising, there's a very important principle just to take note of, right? I'm not going to go into too much detail because this is mostly for home language type questions, but it's ADA. So ADA, the first A, it stands for attention. Like, how is our attention grabbed here? So maybe it's because of the t-shirt being the ad. Maybe it's because of unique. It's so big, it's in bold. I for interest, how does it capture our interest? So maybe the use of the fingerprint, interesting text, desire. What desire is it, creating? What emotion is it evoking in us? Well, maybe we want a t-shirt that's good quality. It can last for quite a bit of time. And action, how do we take action? Well, we simply go to the website here. So you can pretty much use Ada to solve the ad. But again, it's more home language thinking. In Afrikaans, it's, in any of your first additional languages, whether you're doing Afrikaans or Zulu, but I mean, most of us here are FAL candidates, right? Keep it as basic as possible, focus on vocab, and keep your answers as quick and as punchy as possible. As you can see, there's just a bunch of 1 markers here. Every question here is for 1 mark. So answer only would be fine unless a sentence is necessary. So let's have a good look at our cartoon, our Strokies print. Now remember, this is first additional language, so the cartoon isn't going to be so heavy in the sense of, like, you won't get socioeconomic or geopolitical issues the way you would in English home language. The focus here, more often than not, is going to be on something stereotypical, but a light stereotype. It won't be like, race, religion, gender. It's not going to be that heavy. It could be like a very light stereotype, or more often than not, it could be satirical. That tends to be the trend in these FAL questions. So let us take a look. So we've got 4 frames here, rampie 1 tot rampie 4. So what exactly is going on? So in our first frame, old Jan, the vegetable garden is processing quickly, and it seems to me that the vegetables, they like the dirty water. Here's Jan, here's Boet, and here's Brak. Rampie 2 says lekker, like, oh, nice. Brother Boet actually did let the dirty water fall into my bowl. Lekker. So maybe we've got a bit of sarcasm here. Our dog is so upset because there's now dirty water in his doggy bowl. Rampie 3, I can understand why he uses dirty water. And he's pouring more water here. Boet, so these are Boet's hands, as you can see. Like, same hands. He says, come carrots, grow now. I want the mooi garden, like I want this pretty garden. And then our dog, our doggo here, Brak, he's being a bit spiteful, and he says, I hope his carrots will taste like soap too. Because he's a bit upset after Boet poured like this dirty water into his bowl as well. So now he's like wishing a bit of bad on him. Yeah, I hope his carrots taste like soap. So that's the satire here. Again, it's maybe it's not that funny to you. It's not funny to me either, haha. But it gets the point across. Like I said, it's going to be plain, very basic to the T. It's your second language. So write the sentence below in Rampie Ian, so like box 1, frame 1 in indirect speech, and use that in your answer. So use dat. So this would be Boet sê vir Jan. Now, all the punctuation goes. No colon, no more inverted commas, nothing like that. Boet sê vir Jan dat. So we introduce our dat here. May, it changes to say. This is a male, so say would be his. Dat sy groentetuin fliks voorde. So voorde is our verb, and it would now go to the end. So the sentence would read, Boet sê vir Jan dat sy groentetuin fliks voorde. 4.2. How can we see in frame 1 that Boet is satisfied with his vegetables that are growing so beautifully? Name 2 visual signs that we have in Rampie Ian. So Boet is gassed, like, yeah, my vegetables are fire. So his thumbs are in the air, so he's giving us a thumbs up. So albei Boet's duime is in die lug, and he looks satisfied. So hy wys met sy hande of sy vingers dat hy tevrede is. And he's sharp, like, hey, sharp. He's giving us possible, like, sharp signs. This was actually a possible answer. I had a glimpse at the memo just while prepping. I always try to give you guys the best possible answer here. And, yeah, he's sharp. Very South African kind of answer. 4.3.1, the correct word. So what is he saying? Oh, lekker. Yeah, there's dirty water in my bowl. So he's being sarcastic here. Sarcastic. Motiveer jou antwoord. So he doesn't think that this is nice. That's sarcasm. It's not nice. You can't drink dirty water. 4.4, die oortreffende trap. So mooier would be the vergrotende trap. Mooiste is oortreffende. So answer here is mooiste. So mooier is die vergrotende trap. That's how you spell it. And this is the oortreffende trap. So comparative form and then superlative form, mooiste. 4.5. Kom worteltjies. Yo, I'm not an Afrikaans speaker, but I'm trying my best. Can't lie to you. Like, I did nail down a distinction in my matric exams. I mean, that's why I'm teaching Afrikaans, right? But like to this day, I still struggle with the pronunciation and things because I don't speak it all that much. And look, I beat quite a few of my Afrikaans friends in matric with my Afrikaans marks, and like they couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, and things like that. And they always used to make jokes like, "Oh, you don't even speak Afrikaans; you can only speak English." But I'm like, yeah, but like as an academic, I know how to manipulate papers in my regard. So yeah, you can always just bring things back into your domain. You don't have to be like such a good Afrikaans speaker to nail this down. Like I know so many Afrikaans speakers who've gotten like C's and B's because there's a lot of like exam techniques, study techniques here. So wotertjies, that's a meervoud and also a verkleining in one. So the diminutive here, it says that the roots are still small, but it also says that Boet does what here? So maybe he doesn't pay attention to the other vegetables in his garden. That's A. B. He cares a lot about his vegetable garden. C. He likes to eat carrots. And D. He wants to make money from his roots. So the answer here, I think it was pretty plain. The answer was B. Because simply, he cares a lot about his vegetable garden. And we can get that vibe throughout the cartoon. 4.6. So look at how Boet waters his roots in Rampi 3 and Rampi 4. Why can a person understand that dirty water ends up in Brak's tank? Give one visual reason. It's splashing everywhere. So he doesn't intentionally want to do it to Brak. It happens, and well, he doesn't notice it, nor does he seem to care. And there's these water droplets, there's splashes everywhere. So daar's oral, like everywhere, water druppels. There's these droplets everywhere. Daar's baie water druppels. Anything along those lines would have scored you the mark. And last question, we're looking at, again, Rampi 3 and Rampi 4. Waarom is Brak's gedagtes ironisch? So why are his thoughts ironic? His thoughts are ironic because in frame 3, Brak thinks that he can understand why Boet pours dirty water on his vegetables because water is scarce. So he thinks, okay, there's not enough water, that's why he's giving me dirty water. But then in frame 4, he hopes that Boet will suffer the way he does. So he's like, okay, you're giving me this soapy water, like you're messing up my water source. I hope that your carrots taste like soap as well. Like the way I'm suffering, I hope you suffer too. So it's almost as though in Rampi 3 now he's thinking something positive here and then something negative, and that's where the irony comes through. So answers that would fit here, in Rampi 3 dink Brak dat hy kan verstaan waarom Boet veel water op sy groente gooi, maar in Rampi 4 hoop hy dat Boet ook sal proe hoe seep smaak. So again, that positive negative correlation. Yeah, that was a higher order thinking question, a level 4. So in text F, we've got our article, and I'm just going to give you guys a tip. I know a lot of you like to start with your begrips, right? It takes quite a bit of time as well. Then you've got your opsomming, and then maybe you're fighting for your life regarding time. So look, when you start Tal, you don't need to read this text. Like this text, it's quite unnecessary to read, unless you need to give the answer in context. It's only here for context, but for the most part, if you're under time pressure, you don't need to read and analyze it like your life depends on it. The answers aren't in the text. It's just there for context. So you can just get straight into the work. So, gee die meervoud van koorlid. The answer here, koorlede. We drop the I, replace it with an E at the end. Getal, so give the number. The answer here is 14. You spell it with a double E. You spell it with an I, you lose the mark. Spelling counts. This is a language paper after all. Gee die correcte vorm. So in 2019 was die koor die wat koor. So was it the first? Was it the only? Anything along those lines would have scored you the mark. So answers here could have been eerste of enigste. 5.1.4 with alhoewel. Recently, they've wanted you guys to start the question with this conjunction. That's what a voegwoord is. So the question would read something like this. So this would go to the start, right? And it would read alhoewel or alhoewel, hulle nie. So remove the het. Alhoewel, hulle nie die competitie gewen. And now we bring it het nie. And this goes to the start. Was mense mal oor hulle musiek. So in summary, right? Alhoewel goes to the start. Het, it goes to the end. And with our second sentence, was goes to the beginning. So we've almost got two verbs, bang bang. So it would read, alhoewel hulle nie die kompetisie gewen het nie, comma, was mense mal oor hulle musiek. And that's it. Okay. Gee die afkorting, so that's an abbreviation for November. That's an easy one. It's just going to be NOV, N-O-V. Saamstelling, compound words, add the two together. Landtale, we just add an S, so it becomes landstale. Remember, if you have kind and something, it becomes kinder. So typically you would add an S or an E, or if it's kind, you just add that ER. Elke dag, dagelijks. Write it in one word, een woord. If it was elke maand, maandelijks. Elke jaar, jaarliks. Gee die correcte woord hier. So it's either vier of vier. So we need to choose the correct word here. So World Hearing Day. The answer is not going to be vier. It's vier. This is the correct word. Vier can either mean four or to celebrate, and we celebrate World Hearing Day. Okay, we're looking at homophones there. The difference between a homophone and a homonym. With a homophone, these are words like, okay, let's go with an English example. So bear and bear. Like my feet are bare, I'm not wearing socks, or there's a grizzly bear chasing after me. And we can go wind and wind. So this is a phone, homophone, and this is a homonym. So the wind is blowing me away, or alternatively, like I'm winding my car up. Homophone, homonym. Gee die voorsetsel in, that's a preposition. Die koor het onlangs weer met groot sukses aan. Big success on the AGT deelneem. Selfstandige naamwoordjie. So give it as a noun. So beoordelaar. That's how you would change it into its noun form. Beoordelaar. That's how you get it into noun form. Gee die correcte vorm van die woord. Dit was die regbesluit. Te besluit, we change it into adjective form. And now we get our homonym here. Die wêreld het kennis geneem van ons koor. So this van is used in the way that it means of. The other van is a vehicle. So my van is Hilux. My van is an Isuzu. So that's what van means. Okay, look, if you believed me, I'm sorry, because I've just played you. Most of you have probably thought, yeah, like my van is this, my van is that. It's actually fun, and it means surname. Sorry, I was just playing a little joke on you guys. So like May Fun is Van Rooyen, May Fun is Smith. So it could either mean of, not off, of, or it could also mean surname. It doesn't mean vehicle. Look, I'm joking. If you believed me, I'm sorry for leading you astray. It's not a vehicle. Okay? So anything along those lines. 5.1.13, verdeel die woord tussen hakies, correct in lettergrepe, so give it in syllables. Volgende, so it goes volgende, either or. So give it in syllables. Next question, so we have text G, our picture, and this is when vocab becomes our absolute cornerstone here. So write the sentence using the infinitive, so werk op die rekenaar. So this would become om, not werk, op die rekenaar te werk. So when it asks for the infinitive, we go om plus te, we plug in om immediately, the verb goes to the end. So om, op die rekenaar te werk. The verb goes to the end after the te, and we introduce the om immediately. 5.2.2, verlede tyd. So we have bespreek here, so it doesn't get a bespreek, it doesn't even sound right. So the answer would be, die twee kinders op die bed het die werk, and bespreek now just goes to the end. There's no ge. So we usually have a het and ge, we don't. If we had a het, then we would just add a gehad at the end. So it's usually het plus ge. If we have a het already in the sentence, gehad goes to the end. We could also have like us changing to was, and the he, be, ver, anything along those lines. We would just take it to the end and nothing else happens. Die ontkenning, so the negative form. This is 5.2.4. The negative form, Die kinders se kamer is altyd deur mekaar. Die kinders se kamer is nie altyd deur mekaar nie. So we would add a nie here and here. Sorry, I missed this word. What's a window in Afrikaans? This is a pretty easy one. I think it's a venster. 5.2.5, die corrective woordorde. So now we need to utilize Stompy. So SV1, TOMP, V2I. Op die boekrak, die boeke, netjies. So like on the book rack, the books, neat. So die boeke here would be our object. Netjies would be our manner. And die plek would be op die boekrak. So we've got object, manner, place. OMP, 1, 2, 3. So the sentence would read, die kinders pak die boeke netjies op die boekrak. And 5.2.6, die algemene naam, so just a nice generalized term for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So the answer is social media. You can work a plan now. I know you guys don't know the name, so you can say sociale, that's pretty easy, and simply media. Anything like that. Or social networks, sociale netwerke, anything along those lines would have scored you the marks, even social platforms. And yeah, that's it.